so as far as honing my craft, honestly, the best way to hone your craft is the amount of time you spend doing it.
Purpose driven living, that's the motto. Purpose driven living, boy, that's the motto. If God orders my steps, then I'ma follow. We just steward the gifts that we borrow. Purpose driven living.
So tell us, man, you kind of transition here, like, you've always had this interest and passion in music, and you reference, I remember hearing your stuff as a rapper. Like, how did this sort of evolution come about from you making the leap to producing and it really transforming into a actual business model? So tell us about what that process looked like.
So for most of my like rapping career, if you want to call it that, I was making music with one of my buddies that we went to the same high school, grew up together, still my best friend to this day. And deep down, and he had been doing it a lot longer than I had. And I knew for a fact he was better than me. You know what I mean? We had a competitive drive, and it was a healthy competitive drive. Like on every song, we try to do better than the other person. But at the end of the day, to this day, I'm still his biggest fan. And so I just knew deep down, like, he was better than me. I sat down one day, I had my, at this time I have a daughter, you know what I mean? I'm taking care of my family through selling cars and everything. And I'm just like, man, I don't, it comes just like with football. I was like, man, I don't see a future in myself rapping, you know what I mean? And at the time, you know what I mean? We needed beats. We needed somebody to mix and master the music. And most of the time I was being the person that was doing the mixing and mastering. Sometimes we'd send it off and pay somebody, but that person wasn't always reliable. So then I would be the fallback. So I kind of took on that role. I started taking on that role subconsciously. And then just thinking about beats, like I just got tired of like us sitting together and being like, well, we need some beats. Like, where do we get beats? And so I really had to take a moment and step back and just say, well, I love music, and I love music for the music. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily need to rap. I was just doing the rapping because that's the easiest entry into the music world.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go a little bit deeper and say, all right, well, you know what I mean? Let me get a keyboard. It started with me buying a little keyboard, and then I had a program. So I just started messing around. And then, I basically, and like Taz Taylor. And so I started seeing him posting his PayPal statements, and I'm just like, like I see a lucrative situation there, and let me just see if I can just get started. So I just got started, and literally it was like the situation I was telling you before, like.
Hi, at Lenore Coaching, we work with a wide variety of job seekers, including students, early career professionals, and experienced professionals, with services including job search strategy, career exploration, personal branding, networking, interview preparation, as well as resume and cover letter writing. So you guys can contact us first by reaching out to our website, which is www.lenorecoaching.com.
You can also contact us via social media. We have Instagram and Facebook pages, Lenore Coaching LLC.
I at this time I was working at home. I was doing a different sales job, and I was working at home, and I found myself all day just making beats. Like I'd start in the morning super early. And then my wife usually got off at 5, and she'd come home and I'd still be down there. She'd be like, did you make anything? And I'd be like, no, like, because it was such a struggle at the beginning. And you probably know, like,
absolutely.
I would spend 8 hours down there, and I would make something, but it was terrible. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and then so like I'm very competitive, and I'm like, well, if these dudes can do it, I can do it too. So then it started every day. I'm down there, to the point where I was just like, like I'm doing this more than I'm actually doing my actual sales job. So, and I really didn't like that sales job. So then it got to the point where I went back to selling cars, and at that time I'm not working at home anymore, so I don't have all day anymore. So now I'm having to. I was waking up at 5 in the morning to make beats. So I was doing that literally every day, almost every day, if I had the energy. Sometimes selling cars will wear you out, but more times than not, I was getting up at 5 in the morning before work to make beats.
Wow, man, it's a couple things that you dropped that's going to be super beneficial. One, like you kind of did this return on investment analysis where, like, just as a student athlete, you was like, am I really going to go to the league? Right. And so just realizing, being realistic with yourself. So as a creative, as a rapper, you know, your passion is never left. It was always there. But it sounds like, you know, in terms of, you know, me having the level of success that I desire, you did that sort of assessment to say, like, all right, maybe it's not rapping that will be my gateway, if you will, but production most certainly can. And your love, you know, what sounds most important, never dropped off. There was never a decrease in that. So I think that's important to, you know, to tell folks. It was a moment
where I had to be just aware, and like my buddy, he's like super lyrical. When he listens to music, he's listening to every word. But me, I've always been more interested in the beat. You know what I mean? The rapper, what he's saying, I'm listening, but like I'm listening to the beat. You know what I mean? So like, then I have to be self-aware and say, man, I like beats. I like this. You know what I mean? I like when the beats hit. I'm not really too concerned about what that person's saying. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
And I think sometimes it's even bad because the person could be saying some crazy stuff. As long as the beat's going, I'm like, I love this song. You know what I mean?
Hey, so boy, hey, you kind of making my heart break a little bit.
I know, because you're lyrical.
I like straight bars, bro. And you gotta come with it.
I knew when I said this, you were gonna be like, but you know, it just is what it is. I've always been a little bit more interested in the beats. Ever since I was a kid, man, just listening to music, I always cared more about the beat. Most of the times I'm not even listening to the words. And that's even more true right now. I'm not, but especially with the state of hip hop right now, I'm definitely not listening to the words because they're not really talking about too much. I'm definitely listening to the beat, and I'm getting inspiration on kinds of beats that I can make and just enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think what's most important is what you're pretty much saying is zeroing in on your craft. You're in the back of your brain, subconsciously and intentionally. You're doing research. Like for you, you're gravitating towards the production and the beat side. But for you, you're finding out all those little nuances. So I'm sure, like you're trying to see what percussion was going to be, you know, the best for certain types of beat. How does the melody supposed to fit? And then the engineering. That's a whole nother side of production that folks really don't understand. So it sounds like for you, like you were doing that assessment and research for really honing your craft. I kind of want to talk about like that investment of time, because, you know, I've known you from the point where you went to school. You know, I pulled up to the studio back when I was in Harrisonburg. And so I've seen really this evolution of like how you know, honed your craft. Can you tell us a little bit about that process? Because you were kind of transparent, like, you know, when you worked your sales job that was at home, the work that you're doing wasn't great. I certainly can relate, because as a producer, like I'm not a great beat maker. So I know it takes time to do that. So, but tell folks a little bit of how you evolved and grew.
Hey family, it's your boy Quintrell Lenore here with brand new merch to keep you guys looking good this season. We have long sleeve, short sleeve, as well as hoodies. Check us out at gumroad.com/PDL apparel. We got all the swag you need to stay covered in purpose.
So number one, I knew that I had to understand the keyboard, because there's a lot of producers that can produce, and they, you know, you can do everything honestly from a click of a mouse. But I knew that it was going to be more fun, and I was going to bring more of myself out if I can actually play it. I've always been interested in the whole playing aspect of everything. So, you know, I'm buying keyboard lessons. You know, I'm taking piano lessons, and I'm practicing. And really, it's just like listening. So like when I listen to music, I don't listen to it like, you know, somebody that doesn't study music listens to it. They're listening to it for enjoyment. And sometimes I have to make myself just sit back and just enjoy it and not even think about. But for the most part, I'm listening to how the chord progressions being run. I'm listening to the counter melody. I'm listening to the drums. I'm listening to the 808. I'm studying everything about the beat. Like I'm studying like when I'm listening. So like, so as far as honing my craft, you know, honestly, the best way to hone your craft is the amount of time you spend doing it. So at those 5 o'clock mornings where I'm getting up and I'm half asleep and I'm sitting down, and like, so the beats that I made that have over 1 million views, those are beats that I didn't really even like care for. You know what I mean? I didn't think they were anything special. It was just, I was in such a routine of getting up in the morning, making my beats. And it was just totally subconscious. Like, you know, I'd be half asleep. You know, I don't even, no distraction. I'm just half asleep. I'm like, all right, I just got to do this. I got to put it together. I have to do this. This is what I want. Unless I want to continue selling cars for the rest of my life, I have to do this. So I'm in such a routine that it's just becoming second nature. You know what I mean? It's just that, and that's with anything. And this is what I tell a lot of people. Like, if there's something you want to do, and maybe you have doubts in your ability, or if you just do it every single day, it's going to get to a point where it's just second nature. Your mind is just ready to do what you needed to do. So I think at that time when those came out, I was just such in a routine, and I was just in the zone when I made these beats. What do they call it? The flow.
The flow. Yeah.
You've heard of that? Yeah. So I was in the flow when I made these beats. And I like, when I think back to it now, I'm like, you know, or after, I'm like, what did I do different? What did people like about this so much? Because honestly, I didn't really care for it. But then I think back to that time, and I was just in a flow with everything that I was doing. It was just, I was in such a routine, and it was something I had to do. And this is something that I've like tried to work on now, is like doing stuff without distractions. So like if I'm studying something, get away, like put my phone on the other side of the room, because distractions can really hold you back. So I mean, at 5 o'clock in the morning, there ain't really much going on. So I don't even think I brought my phone down to the studio when I'm doing this. So no distractions, half asleep, and just putting my soul into the music. And so just doing it every day is how you hone your skill. I know I kind of went off on a tangent.
Hey, what's going on, family? Do not forget to check out the music that inspired the movement, PDL. This project is by yours truly, Quintrell Lenore. It's streaming on all major platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, you name it, go check it out. This project was produced by Dilly Got It Bumpin'. It's awesome music to help you guys stay motivated and to worship in this season.
No, you dropped gems, bro. It's funny because Shelton said the same thing when he went into filmmaking, when he went into writing. Like, it's a matter of just setting a routine. And the greats, honestly, you're one of them. Like, you're still growing in your craft. But the folks that are successful in what they're doing, is not about having this passion, this emotional feeling. It's about doing something over and over. Another guy that I like, I'm not sure if you know him, his name is Alex Faith. And I was just scrolling through his Instagram one day, and he said something: if I relied on how I feel to do what I want to do every day, I wouldn't accomplish my goals. And I was like, But he's getting to, like, if I want to go to the weight room and make adaptations for strength, power, speed, whatever it might be, if I want to be a better musician, and like yourself, like, I just have to put the emotions aside, the feeling of feeling good, and just and set the short-term goals every day. So I appreciate you sharing that, man.
Purpose-driven living, that's the motto. Purpose-driven living, boy, that's the motto. If God orders my steps, then I'ma follow. We just do it